Hey, welcome. I'm Dr. Marilyn Mason Fry. I'm the Dean of the College of Reynolds College of Business Administration, and I'm the chair of the search committee for our Dean for the College of Education and Behavioral Sciences. And today we have Dr. Kimmy Reynolds, who is currently the interim dean for that college. And I'm going to invite her to come up, and I'm going to start off the discussion by asking her to explain to us why she's interested in becoming the dean of the College of Education and Behavioral Sciences, how she sees herself being a good fit, and where she sees the future of the college. So just a way of kind of introducing why she is applying for this position. So Dr. Reynolds, if you would come up. When she completes that, then I will open it up to the audience to ask questions. And even though I gave you a sheet of paper, what I'm going to do is I'll just walk around with the microphone and let you ask your question directly. We also have several people who are live streaming. There is an opportunity for you to ask a question, and we do have our HR director is monitoring that, so she can also ask questions on your behalf as well. Dr. Reynolds? Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for coming. What Dr. Fry told you about this component certainly was not one of my favorite things to do. But I think the question of why did I apply for this job? I look around this room and see many of my faculty and staff, and I think that's first and foremost the main reason, because I want to continue to support them to make the College of Education what it can be, to continue to use the expertise of our faculty to develop a more collaborative relationship between psych, between ed, to involve our other departments, dyslexia, bridge, to make us all a collaborative unit, to highlight our expertise and use them to establish who we want to be. We have a lot of untapped talent in our college. And I think we often get bogged down in teaching, and we fail to see the other talents we can offer through research, through service, and just by simply collaborating with others. Most of you in this room know my history, why I'm applying. I was a former student athlete here. My husband was, my son was, my sister was, her husband was, my dad was. So obviously Nichols is a big part of our family, and it will continue to be that way. We are fully invested in this community, in this university, and I love what I do. And one of the things I told my students when I was teaching, and I have my GAs in here who I taught, and they can attest to, if it's obvious that you can see that I love what I do, then I'm doing my job. And I think that's one of the things that I communicate and why I applied for this job too, is because I want to work with people that share that mission and share that vision to kind of propel us forward. So I think I answered that. Yeah.
All right, so do we have anyone who would like to ask Dr. Reynolds a question? All right. Okay.
How you doing, Dr. Reynolds?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Look, this is not a question, but we just want to say that we are in full support of you getting this job. We are so excited about you doing this, and you are so right when you say you and your family are fully invested in Nichols State University, and we're just so happy to see you in this position. So thank you, Dr. Reynolds, and good luck.
Well, I appreciate that, Coach Payne. Thank you for bringing the absolute loudest day to our campus yesterday. And although I know I could never match your energy and fashion sense, I do hope that I can match what you bring to your team, to my team, because I think that it shows how much you care about them and support them, and then it's reciprocated. And I think that there is always a business side we have to handle, but there's a human side too, and thank you for bringing that here to us as well. Appreciate that.
So I've known you for years and I love having you in this position. And I think everybody here as a faculty member too can attest to that. But why don't can we ask you to share a little bit about your clinical experience as a faculty member in our clinical mental health department? Talk a little bit about your clinical experience and where you see our department going in the future.
Sure. So for those of you who aren't familiar, in the College of Ed, we have, we always say two sides. We have one side of the elevator, which is education, and one side of the elevator, which is psych. So on the psych side, my clinical experience, I've been a licensed professional counselor since 2012. And I've maintained private practice since that time with different entities, but still have my license. I'm also a licensed practicing licensed professional supervisor. So I have that supervisory credential that I can supervise individuals who are working on their license as well. I think the clinical component just to keep those skills sharp in the clinical setting is essential for our faculty, because our students, they want to know, how does this apply? How can I take what I'm learning and apply it to that clinical setting? And our education students get that in residency. They want to take everything they've learned in the classroom and apply it. And the same with our students, undergraduate with our pre-counseling and at a master's level on the clinical side. So for me to stay licensed in continuing ed units and accomplish all those things, it keeps me up to date on the current research, and just to be able to provide information to our students of how they can actually apply it in whatever avenue they want to pursue, whether it's private practice, whether it's part of a larger clinic, whether it's in school counseling. And then on the education side, I look at the classroom almost as a clinic, right? How can they bring those skills that they learned to that clinic? So it's kind of the same. A long time ago, I was a high school teacher, so I do have experience on that end as well. I started teaching high school when I was 21. I taught English for, 6 years, 8 years. I taught high school English, so I do have that educational side as well. And one thing I did learn is that I didn't want to be in the classroom forever with adolescents, but I love teaching and I like watching the growth. So I think you can apply that to the clinical setting in mental health or the classroom. Yeah.
Okay, Reynolds, I would say I am in first support of you in this particular role. And I would like to be quite sure. First question is more or less in terms of mentorship. How will you continue to mentor your students and your faculty in the College of Education in behavioral sciences? And then I'll ask my second question.
Sure. I think the biggest thing I try, and those of you who know me well, that the word boss makes me very uncomfortable. I don't like it. I don't like being introduced that way. I really don't even like doctors so much all the time, because I want to be relatable and I want to be human and I want to get to know my faculty on that level. So to continue to mentor them just means, I think, being available for them. And if they come to me, I certainly don't have all the answers, but not being afraid to call with them or go to training with them or learn with them, so we can both learn the processes. So I think to continue to mentor is extremely important. And I thank you for using that word, even though I don't see myself that way, because I see me on this journey with everyone in this room and not separate from you. So I think that's really important, because I certainly don't have all the answers, but I'm happy to ask and find out.
Thank you very much. And now it's time for my second part of the question is, what is your vision for our college over the next 5 years?
Okay. I think the vision overall is to highlight who we are in the College of Education. Highlight the people who are there, highlight the people who are invested, to enhance those community relationships, to enhance our faculty's sense of belonging and sense of contribution. So the vision for the College of Ed is to build on what's there. We have a great foundation, but I think for so long we've kind of been plateaued out. So we need to get on, climbing again. And we have the best faculty in our building. I think we're big enough and small enough at the same time to accomplish whatever we want to accomplish. And so to bring us together so we're more collaborative, so we use each other more in our expertise. I think that's the vision for the faculty side. On the other side, it would be to enhance those community relationships and partnerships, because I think once we do that, it helps with marketing, it helps with enrollment, it helps us be involved more in the community and allows for more transparency in our college. The other part of that vision would be to utilize our faculty to offer support to our teachers in the field, to provide CEUs for professionals. Broad vision would be to create that department within our college, where we can have faculty use their expertise to make our community better and everyone in our community better. On the education side, to be well versed in accreditation, my goodness, that's a huge gift that we can offer others who are just starting out. So let's use that, let's market that. And then on our site department side, we are all licensed professionals. Let's use that to provide CEUs to our community. That way we can also use that for recruiting. We can use that to increase enrollment, and we can monetize on it. So hope I answered your question, Dr. BJ.
So, Dr. Rosen, don't go on.
Thanks.
Anyway, you can hear me. So when you talk about expanding field-based opportunities, does that mean more collaboration with like career services on campus?
Sure.
What does that entail?
Yeah, so our field-based opportunities would, we always have students and who maybe, let's say for internship on the pre-counseling side, who say we want to return home, right? And maybe home is in Monroe, Louisiana. So perhaps expanding partnerships in those areas so our students who want to complete internships there can. We are always focusing on our immediate school districts, right? That we bring to the table and that the majority of our students service. But if we have students who in fact want to go outside of those immediate school districts to complete their residency, then we need to be open to exploring those partnerships as well. But certainly career services would assist us in that endeavor, for sure.
I really don't need that. I really don't need that. Very similar to Coach Payne, but I do want to attest to two things that Dr. said. Number one, she is human. Anytime I go to her, the first thing she asks is, what can I do to help you? Are you going to be okay? Are you not taking on more than you can handle? The second thing, and which I think was what impressed a lot of us in the College of Education, the Department of Teacher Education, was when she first took on the role, there were a lot of things in our side of education. She was like, I don't know what any of that means. And we were all very impressed with, can you pause and tell me what that means? I want to teach you the coachability that you showed us, which whether you believe it or not, you are a mentor because you lead by example.
Thank you, I appreciate that. The acronyms alone have been a lot of acronyms. So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
As you know, the college has been through a lot over the last few years with interim meetings and turnover. But tell me you're going to be here over long.
Well, I have an 11-year-old, so I'm going to work for a very yeah. So yes, I plan on being here a very long time. And I think to just comment on what Ryan said, I think if we continue to make each other feel important in the college, then we're all gonna contribute to our goals. And I think that's really important. And I think that for a long time, maybe some of us felt like we were on an island and doing it alone. But I think if we can all feel important in whatever we do, whatever we're assigned to do, then we're all gonna contribute and step up when we need to, because it's gonna lift us all up. Instead of focusing on, I don't wanna do that because I already do this, you're gonna wanna do it. That's part of my vision too, to help you feel a sense of that belonging, so we all want to progress forward and move forward.
Other questions? See, things out this did working again, thank you. This also helps them here. If there's not another one, I'd like to repeat a question from earlier, because I was, as someone not as familiar with all the intricacies of your college, I asked you, tell me what you would want those on the outside to know. What makes Nicholls State University College of Education and Behavioral Sciences so good?
Okay, so one of we have several, but I'm gonna start with saying a lot of times I think we're all guilty of brushing off what we do, right? And because we think, well, everybody does that, or I should do that, right? But we don't stop for a minute to think, you know what, I did that, or we did that, or we can all do that. So some of the things, and you see that we kind of have them listed at the bottom, a few things. The main one is our Title IV grant that we acquired that allows our pre-counseling students to complete an internship their last semester, where they're given a $7,500 stipend, and upon graduation they're guaranteed employment with the state. And a lot of our younger people don't understand what state benefits mean, and insurance and retirement, right? And then they're also up for promotion within 3 months of them being there. So that's a huge thing for our students, and it also allows them to perhaps return to the communities where they moved from and service their communities there. More importantly, I think of the 8 programs, we're the only psychology program in the state to have the Title IV grant. So that's a huge, we were the pilot program. To me, that's a huge accomplishment that we are still doing. I think this is going to be our most robust class in the spring. So we continue to push that because we realize the value in it. We reinstituted our superintendent's meetings, where we meet with them biannually. We're even fortunate enough to bring in someone from the LDOE to talk to our superintendents, because a lot of the superintendents' frustrations are our frustrations as prep providers, and we simply can't answer those. So we requested someone from the LDOE come in and answer those questions, and those meetings have been really, really beneficial. One thing I think we don't talk about enough too, that provides opportunities for our undergraduate programs in psychology and education, is High Five, which is a local after-school program. Mr. Terrell and I started 12 years ago, and it's run strictly off of donations from the community. It services Government Circle. We've had education majors come and get experiential components there, but our entire Psych 448 students, they run that program along with Ms. Janice Coleman. And it's been a gift to that community, it's been a gift to us, and that continues to thrive. The other thing, the Bridge to Independence program. If you ever have a chance to visit that program in Hill Hall, I think that truly sets us apart with what we offer, the students we have in there. And if you are having a bad day, you go in that certificate room and meet Mark Hahn and he will carry that right up. And then the Center for Dyslexia and Related Learning Disorders, to see their space they have there, how passionate they are, what they bring not only to their students are invested, their students want to hang out in that space, their students want to help other students. I think that's what it's all about, and how to make it work together. We've had a few other accomplishments along the way with continued accreditation efforts, and it's just everybody sometimes go on, I really don't want to do that, but understanding where it's going to put us and the buy-in. So that's some of the things I think that truly set us apart.
I have a question. But I don't know. I love hearing all the different collaborations and things that you foresee in the future. So my question is, how do you continue to foster the relationships with the health and wellness with the conference center, universal health services as well as campus rep?
Yeah, so, one of the things I think that's underutilized, and perhaps this is true of every university, is the actual university resources, right? And sometimes we hear, we didn't even know they had that, or we didn't know. So I think continue to market for you guys, continue to market those collaborations, but then see how we can form relationships where it's an ongoing, right? Where it's not just a singular event. It's not just something that, oh, we're gonna do this and it's great, but something ongoing, I think is beneficial. With mental health being my background, I certainly recognize the importance of overall wellness, and we have a lot of entities on this campus that can provide that for our students. Our faculty do a great job of referring out when students come to them. They know the drill, they know what they need to do and where they need to send them. So I think we don't even need to collaborate in emergency situations, right? But use our resources and our expertise around campus, even beyond our college. Answer your question. Okay.
I have another question. You talked about being a college athlete on campus, which is something that not many people I think can attest to, which is awesome. Can you talk a little bit about what other roles with athletics that you've had? Because that's not something that experience that most candidates have.
Sure. So I was faculty athletic rep, probably for 11, 12 years, and stepped down. In the spring, which was a very tough thing for me. I have a strong connection to athletics, and I think being a former student athlete, I could offer both perspectives to that student athlete, because I understand the commitment in being a student athlete and how to maintain being a student first. So faculty athletic rep, I do miss it, but I'm fortunate enough to be able to still work with athletics and provide some life skill management to the athletes. I still meet with several. A lot of them just need a buffer. They need a minute to relax. I also work with the training staff to help them have, like she said, the counseling, center resource information current and up to date. We try to look at that once a year, make sure all of our phone numbers, info's there. The head trainer and I just met a few weeks ago to kind of revamp some of the things we're doing to meet NCAA compliance with mental health. So still have my toe in the athletic side of it too. That's a hard one I'll never say completely cut ties with athletics either. So you're stuck with me on that too.
And by the way, I didn't fire. She had to leave. And we cried together.
But yeah, it's still, I think that's a gift. I think it keeps me grounded to work with athletes as well. Those of you who've had student athletes in your class, I mean, they are an entity into themselves, right? And in order for us to help them envision a life beyond athletics, I think that's where our faculty comes in. So I think I can help faculty with that too. And understand that also has its own little nuances for sure. So thank you for that question. Again, forget all the things.
Questions? Anything from this Saturday? Okay. So how about all academics, universities throughout the country are dealing with enrollment issues? It's just a demographic trend, it's a choice trend. So what are some of your ideas to maintain your enrollment, grow your enrollment? What programs do you think have the most potential? Can you talk about that?
Sure. So earlier, in an earlier meeting, I kind of, alluded to, I guess, vision, for lack of a better word. I think that sometimes in managerial roles, we do get tasked to being behind a desk, right? And problem solving, the immediate problems all day. So one area that I think would be beneficial to help with enrollment and marketing is for perhaps deans to get out in the community more, to perhaps establish relationships, and then department chairs to follow up on those connections, to develop those relationships more intimately. And that in itself will have visibility. It will perhaps contribute to more marketability, free marketability, because then we're out, we're reminding people we're still here, we're reminding people about our product, we're reminding people what we can offer. And so from there, that next time somebody comes in or somebody has a family member, oh, I'm interested in, oh, well, guess what? I know Dr. So-and-so at Nichols, I'm gonna go ahead and give you that contact info, and you can make that connection, right? So I think because we're in a small town, we kind of get caught up in, oh, I'll get with so-and-so, they know so-and-so, but we have to go beyond that, right? So as dean, to potentially reach out further, to be more visible, and then task department chairs with, okay, this connection's made, let's develop it even more so we can help to increase enrollment, to help get our names out there, and to help continue to promote the products we have.
Ask a follow-up to that. So what particular programs that y'all offer, and either under the departments, which ones do you think have the most potential, or
Wow, all of them.
what's in?
Of course, yeah, all of them. As we know, the higher ed, it's changing, right? And it was at one point in time, high school diploma wasn't enough, you need to get a degree, and then it's a degree isn't enough, right? So let's go on to grad school. So I think our grad programs, we can definitely highlight them more. We could highlight the marketability and what you can do after with those programs. But I would say all of them have great potential. Unfortunately, we had to revamp a few, but I think the ones we have are very robust, and they'll continue to grow because educators, mental health professionals, we need them. Researchers, we need them, right? Just like all of your fields. So I think as long as we continue to provide that quality product, it's gonna enhance all of our programs that we offer. And we also can't be afraid to keep up with the mindset of our higher ed students, right? And what they seek and what they want. And we have to be willing to meet their needs too. I get old school sometimes too, and we need to do it this way. But then we're not meeting the needs of our students. So we have to constantly look at that current demographic coming in and potentially make changes to meet those students' needs so we can grow our programs, for sure. Okay.
Right, so this particular position, you have the College of Education, you have education, you have behavioral science. Can you talk a little bit more about how as leader over that college, how do you work with those different departments and how do you get them to work together?
Sure, so psych is probably overlooked this last semester in the spring because I had that relationship built with my faculty. So I really tried to immerse myself on the education side. And just as I said earlier, we have one side of the elevator and the other. And I think that's been a very tangible and proverbial barrier, in that we don't get to collaborate with each other very often. One thing I said, and this is no fault of anyone's, but we have a college meeting after convocation. And I don't think, again, we come together as a college. We have our departmental meetings throughout the semester, but I think it's important to come together as a college because at that time, we also have dyslexia staff who comes, bridge staff who comes, and we tend to otherwise exist in our own silos, and we're not human, right? We kind of, which is, some of us are introverts and we like to stay to ourselves. But I think bringing them together to maybe allow for just commonalities, allow for just conversation, whether it's academic conversation or otherwise. I think that's going to be really important to kind of help with that connection between those two departments, because even though they're separate disciplines, gosh, they overlap so much. so much. And even to the point where we could probably use, we are limited sometimes with accreditation, but faculty from both sides to perhaps enhance what we're already doing in the classrooms. So I think I try to walk around the building, right? I try to learn more about people, more about their interests, so we can continue to have those connections. I like when people's doors are open. It doesn't mean you can go in. But I do like, when you can just stop and say, hey, how's it going, right? And have a genuine conversation and just not, good, how are you? And people keep walking. So I think that part, to just promote the human side, is gonna make our building feel a lot happier, for lack of a better word.
Okay, last chance for questions from the audience. So,
I don't have a question, but I would like to tag on, I'm sorry. I'm like that one person, don't answer. With your open door policy, I will say, Dr. Reynolds has an open door policy where the office to her suite and her office is constantly open. And I have had wonderful collaborative conversations with people like Pradle, Dr. VJ, Dr. Fowler Savage, to work on things together, talk about things that we probably wouldn't have talked about had we not met in the common area. So just having that open door, we run into each other and then, oh, you're doing that. Oh, I'm doing that too. Oh, well, how's it working for you? So your open door policy has indeed offered a collaborative spirit amongst the partners.
And sometimes my great admin assistant says, I'm going to close your doors so you can, right? Like, no, leave it open, I'd rather leave it open. So thank you for saying that.
it's good to have someone like that.
Yes. Yes.
So, any other questions?
I had the pleasure of working with Reynolds. I was Dr. Riley's assistant and helping when she didn't have psychology, and this Dr. Reynolds gets like, she's not scared to get in the trenches and pick people up when they're down and stressed. Yeah, she's not above anybody. She's just amazing.
Well,
I'm not saying it right, but she's amazing.
thank you, Brett.
Anyone else? Please.
First, we want to say we're in full support of you. We appreciate the game you brought to. But
That's not just because I'm applying for this. Not a pride, not a pride.
But what would you do to kind of better the experience as a student?
Great question. So one, I think for me to better the experience, I'd have to have their feedback. Because a lot of times by the time it gets to my level, it's negative feedback, right? And it's usually one particular incident. And so I think that's a great question and a great place to start. I would have to have overall student feedback of their experience as an education or a psychology major or a grad student before we can approach how to make it better, right? I think most of the faculty evals I read, the thing that they like the most on the psych side and the ed side, the comments that I hear back are always there to help me when I need it. Approachable. I can go to them with a problem. We as faculty know that a lot of times, and coaches know that maybe a conversation about play and time or a late assignment turns into a whole thing about family and stress and all of those things, so that our faculty are available for students on that front. That's a lot of the feedback I get. But Casey, thank you for that question, because I think it is a good idea to maybe start having some type of survey for students, just major specific in our building. What can we do to make your experience better? I think some of it, the study zone we created, right? The little grad space we created for you guys didn't have where way to go. I started snagging portable desks from everywhere on campus. to give y'all more of a sense of belonging, but those are little things that go a long way. But that's for a very select group, so I think asking all of the students would be a good idea and a good place to start.
Questions? All right, so in closing, Dr. Reynolds, I'm gonna give you a minute just to make your closing statement. Something that we just wish in terms of how you want to be redeemed.
Sure, so first of all, you know, I view leadership, it's more than a title, it's way more than a title. It's the ability to work with people and not always, have a whole lot in common with them, other than a common goal, right? And that common goal is to make where we are better. And I think to appreciate everyone for their own abilities, I think to appreciate everyone, from students to faculty to staff, for their own gifts that they bring to the table. And so my goal was to utilize that to make us all dump into the same pot moving forward. And I mean, honestly, it's been an honor serving as interim dean, and I appreciate all the patience with me not knowing a whole lot on how to do things. From Dr. Peterson teaching me how to use ChatGPT, and understand that, to processes with promotion and tenure. Thank you, Dr. B. And just from learning so many nuances to how to be involved with a college. And it's truly been an honor to work with my friends, my colleagues, and I just want to be able to continue that so we can all be where we know we should be.
Thank you, Dr. Reynolds. And with the search committee, on behalf of the search committee, we appreciate that. On the little half pieces of paper at the bottom, Stacy Sparks is my assistant. You can send your comments to her, or you can send them directly to me, Ellen Fry, in the College of Business. You can find my email there. So we welcome that, because the committee will be looking at all the finalists, and we want to know what your thoughts are. Thank you.